Hello, Libra, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of May 25th through the 31st. And during that time, we will have a new moon that comes in on the 27th. And of course, that's a really good time for a fresh start, a new beginning, good time to learn a new skill or start any new projects. Good time to make new decisions also. We then move into the waxing crescent energy. And, as that moon gets brighter, then we have heightened senses. Just a really good time to have. It's almost like the best focus of the month for me is during that and that passing through that first quarter time. But you're just ready to buckle down, get to work. It's a good time to make adjustments and kind of just get things moving, get the ball rolling on some of those new things that you've just started. So please keep those moon energies in mind as you move through your week. This will be an intuitive general reading for energies that you may or may not encounter, Libra. So, of course, please keep that in mind. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't for someone else. Your overall message for this reading: you and your loved ones are safe. All right, let's see what the Libra Collective has going on for the week. And Libra, as I'm shuffling, I would like to say that since my readings are free to you, all that I ask in return is that you hit that subscribe button and maybe even the like button if you like the reading, if you enjoy what I do here. So I know that it's super easy for you to do. I will give you just a moment to do that right now as I'm shuffling. Thank you so much. That really helps, with the algorithm game here on YouTube and my channel. And if you've been a subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. I'm noticing, just repeating people coming back. And I just want to say that I see you and I appreciate you. So thank you very, very much. All right, without further ado, we will get right into the reading this week for Libra, May 25th through the 31st. You and your loved ones are safe. All right, your overall energy for this reading, Queen of Swords. So it seems like you're in a place where you're just very clear and concise with your thoughts, not only your intellect, but also your words. You're just coming at a place, the Queen of Swords is definitely, has the understanding of intellect and logic and how to communicate, and not only for yourself, but you understand, that of your kingdom as well, the people around you. You understand how they're communicating, you're understanding their logic, kind of how they're putting things together. So great energy to get started with. Your current situation is the Six of Cups. So Six of Cups is kind of an enjoy the moment card, but it can also kind of harken back to, it's kind of a card of nostalgia. This is maybe, something on your mind from your past, from your youth, maybe, kind of people gone by, friendships gone by. Sometimes this card can come up and one of those people will call you, or, you'll run into someone from your past. So that seems to be the current situation. And maybe you're just taking kind of a logical approach to things that you're thinking about from your past. All right. The root of your situation this week is the Queen of Cups. So much like the Queen of Swords, the Queen of Cups is also, very knowledgeable and understanding about emotions and emotion things. But again, not only for yourself, but of your kingdom. So the people around you, you understand the motivations of people because of their emotions. This person did this out of, this emotion that they had or this reaction to something. And you kind of just have that ability to see the big picture on those types of things. In your recent past here is the Knight of Cups. So you might have had some kind of message or something coming in, some sort of action in the emotional realm. And this could be, something with, kind of a renewal, because of the cards that I'm looking at here, it may be someone from your past that kind of came in with a message of love or appreciation for you. It's kind of bringing all these things up. So it's making you, kind of use your logic brain, but also your emotional brain together to kind of make sense of all of that's kind of coming through for you. So that's very, very interesting. On your mind this week is the Temperance card. So while you're doing this, of course, you're trying to keep that balance. And boy, is that a balance between logic and emotion. That's something that I think we all struggle with, is when to let one of those take over and have more control over us, right? Sometimes that emotional side gets to us. And I know if you're like me, that it's that moon energy. It's why that energy can be so important, because sometimes, like, during a new moon, you do feel like you're more logical and things are laid out better for you. But maybe as that full moon increases and that light of that moon increases, you get a little bit more emotional, and maybe your reactions to things are a little bit more emotional. So that's definitely, that temperance, that balance of those two worlds, is important. It's something to think about. If you're having over emotional reactions, it's a good thing to at least recognize that, stop, and bring that logical mind into view. And then the opposite is true also, that sometimes you can just be too logical and you need to actually use the emotions. So what is just ahead of you is the Page of Swords. So here comes our new path. Our This is one of our juveniles of the suit. There's a lot of royalty too in this reading, let me just say that. And anytime I see that, I feel like there are other people involved. And of course, because we have this card of nostalgia, I do feel like there's other people involved. Just going to say that. But not only are these your attitudes, but these are also some attitudes of people around you. Our pages can be people that are youthful. This is kind of our juveniles, but doesn't always have to represent a youthful person. It can also represent a juvenile way of, like, and by juvenile, like a new way of thinking or a new way of communicating. This could be that you just decided to get on the TikTok app. That's something that's new to you, some new app for communication or whatever. But or it's a new way of communicating where you're saying to yourself, I'm going to be more logical in my communications, and that's new to you. So it's kind of any new path, but that is just ahead of you this week. That whatever all of this thinking that you're doing about this, or this involvement with other people, is kind of leading you into a new way of either thinking or communicating, if that makes sense. In your advice position is the Emperor card. So I find it interesting that none of these royalty, nobody else in this reading is looking at you except for Temperance and now the Emperor. So the Emperor is our card of leadership, control. This is like somebody who can get things done. This is someone who can build a company from the ground up, and who knows everything about everything, who and if they don't know, they ask the right people and get the right people involved. But it's really, just a card of leadership and just taking control, getting things done. So whatever, that's your advice in this. So whatever this has come up for you, come up from your past, and this communication, this different way of, you're trying to balance this. This card is saying, get it done. Don't wait around for it. This is something that's being brought up for you at this time for some reason, and it's time for you to just kind of take care of business and get things managed and done. So, um, if you're going through this, a tarot is a template. It could be a different area of life for all of you, but it looks to be something from your past that is coming up and triggering something, and it's making you really choose between logic and emotion. But you need to make that choice, and you need to take action this week. What is beyond your control is the Lover's card. So, here we are with even more people coming together in this reading. And again, and I'm looking at who's looking at us, at you, really, not me, but you. The Emperor is, Temperance is, and now, you know, this this goddess that's over this Lover's card is also looking at you, but those lovers aren't. If you look at that, he's looking at her, she's looking at this goddess. So, you know, because that's a card that's beyond your control. I'm going to say it's beyond your control, in that it maybe involves this person from this past. This could be some, like, a past relationship or something that's coming up. But that's definitely beyond your control this week, to kind of have to manage that or deal with it. What is your secret desire, or what you're trying to avoid, is the Four of Pentacles with some stability here. So maybe it's your secret desire. The Emperor really represents stability also. Is it your secret desire to kind of get maybe it kind of knocked you off balance a little bit and you want to get that stability back? This can also mainly mean stability in the material realm or in the financial realm, but in this position and with the other cards that are coming out, I'm going to say that it just represents that stability period. It doesn't necessarily have to mean in the material world, but it just maybe your mental stability. And like I said, this card's very reminiscent to me of the Emperor, of someone who's like the most stable, you know. But is that what you're trying to avoid? Is that stability, or is that your secret desire? Is to kind of maintain that stability in the face of whatever this is coming up for you. In your outcome position is the Four of Swords. So two fours here at the end. You may want to look up angel number 44 to see if that, oh, we've got three fours here. Look up 444, which is a number very close to my heart. I see that number all the time. Look up that number right now and see if that means anything for you, Libra. Um, It could be that you have something going on where that number will mean something to you. So look up angel number 444. Hidden from you this week is the Ace of Pentacles. So nothing new coming in the material realm. And again, that's why this card, I feel like this isn't about material things. And this card literally represents just stability. And that's your big question for the week, is that, are you trying to avoid some stability, or is it your secret desire to just kind of have that stability? It feels like you are kind of going between, like I said, this Ace of Cups, this Queen of Swords, or Queen of Cups, Queen of Swords, that emotion, logic. You know, you're kind of tossing that ball around back and forth a little bit, and what you need to do is get in the middle of those with the Temperance card and just really have some stability. So whatever this is coming up for you, very interesting here, Libra. I'll go back to your overall message card, which is you and your loved ones are safe. So, you know, if this appears to be something that's kind of knocking you off kilter a little bit, it looks like it will resolve itself. You know, you end up here with this Four of Swords, which is rest and meditation, which to me means that this, whatever this thing that's kind of like a whirlwind that blows in, but by the end of it, you're kind of in that rest and meditation where you're thinking about it and kind of evaluating the situation and how that affected you, right? I don't see a tower here, anything like that. It doesn't seem to be like a huge disruption, but it's definitely something that I think throws your mind a little bit off kilter and has you thinking about things and really thinking about your stability. So keep that in mind as you're moving through your week. Libra, let's get a final message here from the Soul Oracle deck. Final word is live your soul, not your role. So keep that in mind, is that you have your, you know, not only your sense of morality, but also your overall way of being, and the direction that you want to go to, and make sure, you know, make sure that you know what that is, and do live that. Let's see if this card wants to come out here. Express your joy. So, you know, yeah, trying to stay in that, you know, like I said, that temperance, that balance, that emperor, that control, you know, with the stability, so that you can end up with this rest and meditation. I do feel like it's somebody or something that either comes up from your past, or you get confronted. Like I said, you may run into somebody, or you may get a message from somebody, and it leads you kind of to this page of, let me uncover him here. Room for these cards. There we go. This Page of Swords here, which again can represent like a new way of messaging or a new way of thinking. Um, you know, which certainly something that's rocking your boat like that, with that, where you're having to balance your emotions and your logic, that, yeah, of course that's going to leave you to a new way of thinking. But you know, it could be that, again, this is like a message that comes in, that maybe you just find a new way to message this person. You know, maybe it's someone you haven't talked to in a while, and you have to kind of just think about how to do that. But you know, this could be an old relationship that comes in from the past too, that kind of, you know, the person kind of gets in front of you, and you're kind of thinking along those, you know, emotional lines, but then thinking, oh, well, the logic is, you know, we did break up, and here's the thing that went on. So it's very interesting, Libra. If you're comfortable sharing, of course, please drop me a message down below. Let me know what it is that you guys are going through. You know, what did come up from your past this week, and how did you end up, you know, in a resting and meditative state over it? It seems like you're very calm towards the end of it, and you do kind of get the stability of all three of those fours. Again, try to look those up if you can, but you end up with that stability. Like, you know where you are, You know who you are, and none of this that comes in is going to rock you in any way. It just kind of shakes you for a couple of days. So anyway, if you're comfortable sharing, drop me a message down below. I do readings every week, so come back next week and we'll see if this energy continues or if there's a completely new message here for you next week. Also, if you like my reading style, again, I will ask that you like or subscribe. It does help my channel, and most importantly, it'll help you find me next week. So Libra, thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.